Hello, Sluggers. David Coble coming to you from Sluggers with a much more exciting update than last time. I just wanted to reach out and give you the latest news. In case you missed it yesterday, the governor did announce some loosening of restrictions in our area. One of those that pertains directly to us is they did say we can now have groups of 10 or less together as long as we observe social distancing. So that's very exciting for us. Hopefully, you can feel the energy and the excitement from me because that means we can start outdoor practice, and we're very excited about that. So the wheels have been in motion since she made her announcement yesterday. We've got guidelines in place to make sure we're taking care of the social distancing requirements to keep our players safe. Just finished a Zoom call with our coaches earlier to go over that. We'll also be emailing those guidelines out to you as parents to review. So as we go into that, I just wanted to give you a heads up. Coaches will be reaching out with practice times, but we also wanted to back up and say safety has always been one of our pillars here at Sluggers, and the safety of our players is number one, and our families. So it is an individual choice. So I want to start that by saying we understand that, and attending practice, much like we do with our clinics and our workouts in the winter here, when the weather's rough, we always try to stick by the statement, do what's safe for you, do what your family is comfortable with. It'll be the same with these practices. So if you want to use the word optional, we can. It's really set up. We covered this with the coaches. No penalties in place for missing practice. Nothing along those lines. We just really want you guys to be comfortable. So looking at the survey work we did, it was pretty unanimous. 85+% people said they were ready to go, and that was 3 weeks ago. So we feel like that number is probably even higher now. But again, that doesn't change your individual decision. This is a one by one decision. We want you to do what's comfortable for your family. So as we announce these, we would just ask, if you're not comfortable, please communicate that to the coach so he can plan accordingly. If you're not comfortable reaching out to the coach, feel free to reach out to me. We want you guys to be comfortable with that decision. So that's number one. It will be considered optional, and do what you think is right for you and your individual player. As we go into that, there will, like I mentioned, there will be more guidelines that we've laid out. We will email that to each family as well, so you can review those guidelines when you're making that decision. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, reach out to me. We'd be happy to discuss it with you and make sure it's a good fit. When it comes to that, fields are a little bit rough right now. We had the best laid plans, and we're working ahead of schedule. Had some college fields, some high school fields, different complexes set up for practice. And unfortunately, that's all been thrown out the window. So we're working through that right now. All we would ask is a little patience. Even the city and county parks, which is where we're going to end up for the most part, even those that are open, they will not allow you to reserve it or lock in a time. So there may be a time where we run into some bumps in the road where we don't immediately get on a field. So we would just ask for a little bit of patience. Understand we're working through it, and until that stay-at-home order is completely removed, we won't be able to lock in fields. It'll be more of a first come, first serve basis. So we'll continue to work through that and just ask for your patience and a little bit of grace there. Not our normal process, but it's unprecedented times, so we'll continue to work through it. As we step back on the field, we've asked our coaches, and we would ask you as well. The focus of these practices will be kind of a spring training feel. Unfortunately, we had our players primed and ready to go, and we got a dead stop on that. So they lost some momentum. We understand that. Some of the hard work they put in went away, but we also know they'll bounce right back. So you'll see a focus in practice on some basic skills, some throwing, trying to get our players back in shape. The number one thing we want to avoid is any injuries by starting back up. So that's where we'll be. What can we ask of you? We would just ask that if you feel comfortable taking part in practice, we would ask you help by coaching our sluggers and our players. Let them know ahead of time, how we're going to be doing social distancing. It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird to have people not in the dugout but spread out down the fence line. Help them to understand that's what's coming, and help them to kind of get a mindset that we're going to try to keep some distance between all the players as they go back out. The other thing you can do is just simply, we would just ask in this time, don't attend if you don't feel well. A lot of times our players will push it. They want to be on the field. We know that. We love it. We want them to be on the field. But if you're not feeling well, we would ask you just to step out until you're back to 100% to avoid any risk at all. So as I mentioned, we'll be sending this information out to you. We're very excited. You could really feel the excitement in all the coaches today and everybody I've talked to. As we mentioned, we're ready to get back on the field. We want to do it safely, but we're ready to get that momentum going. We're ready to continue, and we'll have individual messages coming out as we find out more about tournaments. Those decisions continue to be made on a daily basis. So we'll keep working through those team by team and communicating those through your coaches. But we're ready. We're excited to see our Sluggers get back on the field, see the groups get back together, our coaches lead those young men, and get the momentum started again as we head into game play and tournament play. So with that, I'm going to keep it short, brief today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Happy to discuss it with you. We're very excited to be back on the right path, and hopefully we'll be back to some normalcy even sooner rather than later. So with that, I will say have a safe, happy Memorial Day. Hopefully you all have good plans and something good to do, and go relax for a few days and keep slugging.